Hi everyone. I never thought I'd be writing something like this, but I need to get this off my chest. I'm a 42-year-old husband and father of 3 amazing kids. My wife, Claire, 38, is a professor at one of the most prestigious universities in the city. She's always been very passionate about her work, constantly talking about her lectures, her students, and every little academic drama. I used to find it charming how her eyes would light up when she talked about her work. That passion was one of the reasons I fell in love with her in the first place. Claire and I met in our 20s. She was driven, ambitious, with a sharp tongue and an even sharper mind. Over the years, we built a life together, a home, a family, shared vacations, late-night talks. You know, the usual picture of a happy marriage. Or so I thought. The story really starts about a year ago when she started talking more and more about a student in her final year literature seminar, a guy named Jason. 22, apparently brilliant, so mature for his age, and this she emphasized more than once, incredibly insightful. I remember jokingly asking her if she was developing a little professor crush on him, and she just laughed it off. I didn't think anything of it at the time, but that was just the beginning. Things really started to shift around 6 months ago. Claire began coming home later than usual, always with some excuse. Jason stayed after class to discuss his thesis, or I had to help Jason with a scholarship recommendation, or Jason struggling emotionally and just needed to talk. At first, I bought it. I mean, she's a dedicated professor, and I never doubted her loyalty. But there were subtle changes. She stopped being interested in our family dinners. She would barely ask the kids how their day was. She'd spend long hours texting, claiming it was just work stuff. I glanced once. The name Jason was at the top of her messages. I didn't want to be that paranoid husband, so I brushed it off. Then came the cafes. She started mentioning them more often. Jason and I had a brilliant discussion over coffee. Jason found this quiet little cafe near campus, perfect for brainstorming. I teased her about having a new best friend, but she just rolled her eyes and snapped. God, you're so insecure. The tone was off. Cold. Sharp. Like I was annoying her just by existing. And that's when I realized something was wrong. Really wrong. I wasn't ready to admit it yet, but deep down, the fear was starting to grow. And I had no idea what was really happening behind my back. A few weeks after that, I noticed Claire had started dressing differently. Not in a dramatic way, but noticeable. She wore more makeup. She started putting on perfume before leaving for campus, the same one she used when we were dating. Her clothes got a bit tighter, more youthful. I complimented her once, and instead of smiling, she said, I just don't want to look like a tired mom all the time. We hadn't been intimate in over 2 months by then. One evening, while putting the kids to bed, I heard her laughing on the phone. A soft laugh. The kind I hadn't heard in years. I peeked around the corner. She was curled up on the couch, phone pressed to her cheek, twirling her hair. Like a teenager. She said, You always make me feel alive. My stomach dropped. I didn't confront her. I froze. Something inside me hoped I was misinterpreting it. But that night, I couldn't sleep. And for the first time in our marriage, I went through her phone while she was in the shower. There were hundreds of messages between her and Jason. Flirty. Emotional. Personal. He called her my muse. She called him my light in the darkness. Photos. Inside jokes. Late-night selfies. My heart felt like it was being crushed in a vice. When she got out of the shower, I pretended to be asleep. I didn't confront her that night. I needed a plan. To watch. To know before I made a move. And then came the night in the park. It happened on a Thursday night. Claire had said she had an urgent evening meeting with the department and wouldn't be home until late. I was suspicious. The department never met after 7 p.m. So I called a friend of mine who works at the same university. He casually confirmed there were no scheduled meetings that night. That was the final straw. I asked my neighbor to stay with the kids and drove toward the university. No real plan. Just instinct. I remembered Claire once mentioned a little park she liked near the university, a great place to decompress. I figured it was worth checking. It was past 9 p.m. The park was mostly empty. That's when I saw them. Claire and Jason. Sitting together on a bench, under the dim yellow lights. His hand was on her knee. She was laughing that laugh again, and gently leaned her head on his shoulder. Then they kissed. Not a subtle one either. A long, deep, intimate kiss. I just stood there, frozen. My ears were ringing. My vision blurred. I felt like I had left my body. After a moment, I approached. I didn't even think. She saw me and immediately jumped up. "What are you doing here?" she snapped, like I had committed some crime. Jason backed away, wide-eyed. He looked like a kid caught stealing. I asked her, quietly, "How long has this been going on?" She rolled her eyes, and said, "Don't make this into some big drama, Thomas. You always overreact." I couldn't believe it. She acted like I was the problem, that I was the crazy one. She stormed off toward the car, muttering something about how I was suffocating her. Jason stood there, speechless. I didn't say a word to him, just walked away. That night, I slept in the guest room. The next day, I called a lawyer. The next morning, Claire acted like nothing had happened. She was in the kitchen, making pancakes, humming some pop song like it was a regular Saturday. I walked in, and she gave me a look. "Are you really going to be passive-aggressive all weekend?" she asked, as if I owed her an apology. I told her calmly, "I saw you kiss him. You lied. Over and over. You betrayed our family." She exploded. I hadn't seen that side of her in years, that hysterical, manipulative Claire. She threw the spatula into the sink and screamed, "You have no idea what it's like to feel alive again. To be seen. You don't even look at me anymore." I reminded her we had 3 children, that she had a responsibility. She just kept yelling, ranting about how I was emotionally absent, how I never supported her career, how Jason understands her in a way I never could. I tried to stay calm. I really did. But hearing her justify infidelity with some romantic fantasy made my blood boil. I said, "I'm filing for divorce." She went silent. For a moment, I saw fear in her eyes. Then she crossed her arms and whispered, "Fine. Maybe that's what we both need." I moved into the guest room permanently. We agreed not to tell the kids yet. But the atmosphere at home turned icy. The tension, the silence, it was unbearable. Meanwhile, Claire continued seeing Jason. She didn't even try to hide it. And then something happened I didn't expect. Jason reached out to me. A few days after our blowout, I got a message request on Facebook. It was from Jason. At first, I thought it was a mistake. But no, it was definitely him. The message said, "Mr. Thompson, I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from, but I just want to talk. Please." I didn't respond right away. But curiosity, or maybe masochism, got the better of me. I agreed to meet him the next day at a coffee shop. I wanted answers. Maybe I just wanted to see if he had the guts to face me. Jason showed up looking nervous as hell. Hoodie, baseball cap. I was darting around like he expected me to punch him. He started talking fast, apologizing, saying he'd never meant for it to go this far, and that Claire never told him the truth about how strained our marriage was. He swore he thought she was already separated. I asked him point blank, "Do you love her?" He hesitated, then nodded, and then he said something that caught me off guard. "I think she's lying to both of us." He told me she had told him that I was controlling, that I was borderline abusive, that I cheated on her years ago, none of which is true. He also said she told him she didn't want more kids, but I found out months ago she stopped taking her birth control without telling me. Jason looked genuinely confused, almost scared. He admitted that lately, Claire had started getting possessive and moody, even with him. He thought she was just under pressure, but now he wasn't so sure. I left the meeting with a strange mix of anger and pity for both of us. And then, as if things couldn't get more twisted, Claire saw us talking and lost her mind. Claire must have been following me. Maybe she tracked my phone. Maybe Jason told her about our meeting, though he swore he didn't. Either way, she stormed into the coffee shop like a tornado. Eyes blazing, hands trembling, voice sharp as broken glass. "You think you're what? Tag-teaming me behind my back now," she shouted. Everyone turned. Jason looked like he wanted to disappear. I calmly asked her to sit down and talk, but she wasn't having it. "You think I'm the villain here? You two, pathetic men, think you can handle me? You have no idea what I've been through." Then she turned on Jason. "You little traitor. I told you things in confidence, and now you go crawling to him." Jason stood up, muttering something like, "I just wanted to understand." But she cut him off. "You don't understand anything, Jason. You're just a kid playing grown-up." Then she left, but not before throwing her iced coffee on the floor and saying, loud enough for the whole place to hear, "You'll both regret this." Later that night, she packed a suitcase and left the house. No note, no explanation, just a voicemail that said, "Tell the kids I'll call them in a few days. I need space." I haven't seen her since that day. The kids keep asking where she is. I try to protect them, but something tells me the worst is still ahead. The first few days after Claire disappeared were strangely quiet. I kept thinking she'd come back, storming in, full of dramatic explanations and twisted logic. But she didn't. Then things started unraveling. I received a message from the university. An anonymous complaint had been filed claiming I was harassing a faculty member and a student. It didn't take long to figure out it was Claire. She was trying to flip the narrative, to paint herself as a victim again. But karma was already catching up with her. Apparently, someone else, maybe a colleague, maybe Jason, reported her relationship with a student. A formal investigation was launched. Word spread fast on campus. She was put on administrative leave pending review. Her dream job, the one she always put above our family, was suddenly slipping through her fingers. And yet, she still blamed me. She started texting me at night. Unhinged, furious messages. Accusing me of ruining her life, of poisoning Jason against her, of being a narcissistic manipulator. One message ended with, "You've taken everything from me. I have nothing now." But she wasn't done. 3 days later, she showed up at the house. Unannounced. At night. Drunk. Makeup smeared. Eyes wild. She banged on the door, waking the kids, screaming, "Let me in, Tom. I live here too." I didn't open it. I called my lawyer. And then I heard her scream from outside. "You'll be sorry. Jason chose me." What she didn't know, or refused to admit, was that Jason had already ghosted her completely. The night she showed up drunk at the house was the last straw. I filed for a restraining order the next morning. My lawyer moved quickly, especially with the kids involved. She hadn't spoken to them in days. The youngest kept asking, "Why doesn't mommy come to tuck me in anymore?" I didn't have the heart to answer. Meanwhile, Jason sent me one last message. Short, almost ashamed. "I'm leaving the city. I'm sorry for everything. I didn't know how deep her lies went." That was it. Turns out, Claire had told him she was planning to leave me for months, that I was clinging to her, that she feared for her safety, and that I was manipulating the children. But once he saw her unfiltered, her breakdowns, the rage, the paranoia, he realized she was never who she pretended to be. He blocked her, deleted all contact, vanished, and she lost it. Over the next week, Claire sent me over 50 emails, some begging me to take her back, some threatening to expose me. Others were pure incoherent rage, caps-lock tirades about betrayal and how Jason ruined her career. Then the final email came. Just 3 lines. "I'm done fighting. You win. Goodbye." I haven't heard from her since. But something tells me it's not quite over yet. 3 months have passed since that last email. Claire never came back. She officially resigned from the university during the investigation. Quietly. No statements, no drama. Just vanished from the academic world that meant everything to her. Some say she moved to another state. Others whisper she tried to get back in touch with Jason and was rejected again. I honestly don't care anymore. The divorce finalized last week. I got full custody of the kids. She didn't fight it. Her lawyer said she wanted a clean break. She sees the kids occasionally through supervised visits, but even they seem confused, distant, as if they don't recognize the woman she's become. As for me, I'm healing. It's not easy. 15 years don't just vanish overnight. There are good days, bad ones too, but I'm rediscovering parts of myself I had forgotten. I take the kids hiking. I laugh again. I don't walk on eggshells anymore. Claire left our family for a fantasy, a 22-year-old ideal, a version of herself she couldn't let go of. But reality always catches up. Jason? Just a chapter. Her job? Gone. The truth? It always comes out eventually. If there's one thing I've learned through all of this, it's that love without respect is a ticking bomb. And lies, no matter how well dressed, always rot from the inside. Thanks for reading.